You already know more than you think you do. You felt it before, that subtle moment when something about a person didn't match. Their words sounded right, but something underneath felt off. A pause too long, a smile too tight, a reaction too sharp for the situation. That instinct wasn't random. You just were never taught how to interpret it. Every person leaves psychological fingerprints everywhere they go, in tone, in timing, in what they repeat, in what they avoid. And what you're about to learn are 18 psychological truths drawn from the work of Friedrich Nietzsche, not the simplified quote version of him, but the philosopher who dissected ego, fear, identity, and self-deception with surgical precision. But this is not a quick list. This is not surface advice. This is a layered breakdown in 3 parts. Each part builds on the last. If you skip, you won't just miss information, you'll weaken the lens itself. Stay with it, because by the end, you won't just understand other people, you'll understand yourself in ways that are difficult to ignore. Part 1. The Mask. From childhood, you were trained to trust words. Say sorry. Say thank you. Tell them how you feel. Language became proof of character. But Friedrich Nietzsche warned us that language is rarely pure truth. It is strategy. It is positioning. It is survival wrapped in grammar. People do not speak only from authenticity. They speak from fear of rejection, from desire for status, from need for approval, from avoidance of shame. What you see on the surface of someone, their personality, is often a carefully constructed adaptation. The friend who never disagrees? That may not be easygoing nature. It may be a lifelong fear of being excluded. The colleague who dominates every meeting? That may not be natural leadership. It may be anxiety about being invisible. The person who is relentlessly kind to everyone? That may not be boundless generosity. It may be a deep terror that love disappears the moment they disappoint someone. And here is the difficult part. Most people do not consciously choose this. They are performing roles that once protected them. They learned early which version of themselves received safety, and they kept that version. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote that every profound spirit needs a mask. He did not say this to accuse humanity of hypocrisy. He said it as a warning. If you only look at the mask, you will miss the human being beneath it. But masks are not perfect. They crack, they slip, they leak. And that is where reading begins. 1. Everyone wears a mask to survive. Not because they are fake, because they adapt it. To move through society, people build a version of themselves that minimizes rejection and maximizes acceptance. But adaptation creates tension, and tension reveals truth. Watch what makes someone uncomfortable. Notice which topics cause a shift in tone, which jokes land too hard, which criticisms feel personal. Discomfort is rarely random. It points toward what is being protected.
Rule 1. Everyone wears a mask to survive, not because they are fake, because they adapted. To move through society, people build a version of themselves that minimizes rejection and maximizes acceptance. But adaptation creates tension, and tension reveals truth. Watch what makes someone uncomfortable. Notice which topics cause a shift in tone, which jokes land too hard, which criticisms feel personal. Discomfort is rarely random. It points toward what is being protected. Rule 2. What someone hates in others often reveals what they suppress in themselves. This is projection, one of Nietzsche's sharpest psychological observations. The person obsessed with calling others arrogant may secretly fear their own inadequacy. The one who constantly condemns dishonesty may be avoiding a truth in their own life. The person who mocks vulnerability may be at war with their own emotions. We attack in others what threatens to expose us. So when you want to understand someone, do not only study what they admire, study what irritates them, study what they cannot tolerate. Sometimes hatred is a mirror held outward. Rule 3. Silence reveals more than speech. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that language often protects the herd. It smooths things over. It hides discomfort. It avoids confrontation with reality. Pay attention to pauses, to deflections, to answers that sound polished instead of lived. When someone quickly changes the subject after a question hits too close, that is not accidental. When someone laughs a little too long after being challenged, that laughter is armor. Silence is not emptiness, it is information. Rule 4. Excessive virtue can be disguised vanity. Be cautious around loud morality. The person who constantly advertises their goodness, corrects others publicly, and positions themselves as morally superior may not be serving justice. They may be seeking elevation. Nietzsche called this the will to power in disguise. Sometimes virtue becomes a tool for status. Sometimes righteousness is a strategy for dominance. Real integrity does not need an audience. Rule 5. People lie to themselves before they lie to you. I'm fine. It doesn't matter. I'm over it. These statements are often rehearsed internally long before they are spoken outwardly. Self-deception is not evil, it is protective. Nietzsche understood that humans construct narratives that allow them to function in painful realities. When someone's story contains inconsistencies, do not immediately assume manipulation. Often you are witnessing a person maintaining the version of reality they need to survive. The contradictions are not accidents, they are cracks in the armor.
Rule 5. People lie to themselves before they lie to you. I'm fine. It doesn't matter. I'm over it. These statements are often rehearsed internally long before they are spoken outwardly. Self-deception is not evil. It is protective. Nietzsche understood that humans construct narratives that allow them to function in painful realities. When someone's story contains inconsistencies, do not immediately assume manipulation. Often, you are witnessing a person maintaining the version of reality they need to survive. The contradictions are not accidents. They are cracks in the armor. Rule 6. Where someone insists on superiority, there is often hidden inferiority. Constant boasting, casual belittling, endless comparison. These are rarely signs of deep confidence. They are signs of insecurity seeking oxygen. True confidence does not need constant witnesses. It does not compete for existence. If someone must dominate, prove, or control the hierarchy, ask what part of them feels small. Behind many thrones, you will find fear. Pause here, because this skill can easily become cruel if misunderstood. Reading people is not about exposing them. It is about understanding them. When someone interrupts repeatedly, it may not be arrogance. It may be fear of being forgotten. When someone posts constant displays of happiness, it may not be vanity. It may be loneliness seeking reassurance. When someone avoids eye contact while saying, "I'm fine," the body is telling you a different story than the sentence. Friedrich Nietzsche did not want you to see through people so you could control them. He wanted you to see through illusions so you would stop being deceived, including by your own. Compassion grows when clarity grows. Part 2. When the mask cracks. It is one thing to notice the mask. It is another to observe the moment it fractures. You have seen it before. A flash of irritation when someone's belief is challenged. A tightening of the jaw under pressure. A defensive tone that appears too quickly. These are not random reactions. They are structural stress points. Friedrich Nietzsche believed the self is not fixed. It is constructed, stitched together from experiences, rewards, punishments, fears. And when that construction is threatened, truth leaks. Rule 7. Most actions are driven by unconscious fear. Why does someone over-explain simple things? Why does someone dominate conversations? Why does someone withdraw the moment intimacy deepens? Fear of rejection, fear of humiliation, fear of being exposed as inadequate. Humans rarely act from pure desire alone. They act to avoid pain. If you want to read someone accurately, stop asking what they want. Ask what they are afraid of losing. Rule 8. Chronic criticism is projection in motion. Listen carefully to those who criticize constantly. The man who mocks emotional people may be suppressing his own feelings. The woman who ridicules appearances may be fighting her reflection daily. Judgment is rarely about the target. It is about the speaker distancing themselves from a trait they fear. Projection is not merely defense. It is confession, disguised as attack.
Rule 9. False confidence can hide guilt. There is a kind of certainty that feels rigid, over-rehearsed, defensive. Nietzsche observed that those who perform absolute certainty often fear being seen clearly. Watch how someone reacts when questioned. If their confidence collapses into aggression, something fragile lies underneath. Real peace does not need constant reinforcement. Rule 10. Exaggeration betrays insecurity. I never care what anyone thinks. I'm always happy. I'm completely unbothered. Absolutes are signals. Extremes often attempt to drown doubt. When statements become too absolute, too loud, too dramatic, listen beyond the content. What is being overcompensated for? What insecurity requires that volume? Exaggeration is rarely strength. It is noise over uncertainty. Rule 11. Obsession with control hides inner chaos. Micromanaging every detail, needing rigid plans, reacting strongly to unpredictability. When someone's internal world feels unstable, they attempt to stabilize the external one. Nietzsche understood that domination is often rooted in insecurity. The stricter the outer control, the more fragile the inner state. See the fear behind the control, and the dynamic changes. Rule 12. The louder the performance, the deeper the need. Endless self-display, constant broadcasting of identity, life curated for applause. Nietzsche did not interpret performance as power. He saw hunger.
The person who truly knows themselves does not require constant validation. When someone performs non-stop, ask gently, what would happen if they stopped? What silence are they avoiding? Part 3. The Soul Beneath. By now, your perception has shifted. You walk into a room and notice patterns instead of just words. You see interruptions as fear. You see arrogance as wounded pride. But we go deeper still. Friedrich Nietzsche did not merely analyze behavior. He traced behavior back to pain. Rule 13. People argue from wounds more than from logic. Under many rigid beliefs lies an emotional scar. I don't believe in love. Trusting people is stupid. Success is meaningless. Often these are not philosophical positions. They are protective conclusions. People experience pain first, then they build beliefs to justify avoiding that pain again. If you want to understand someone's worldview, do not only debate their logic, ask what hurt shaped it. Rule 14. How someone treats weakness reveals their strength. Observe how a person treats someone who cannot retaliate. Do they mock vulnerability, exploit mistakes, assert dominance? Or do they show restraint, patience, compassion? Nietzsche believed real strength is not domination. It is mastery of oneself. Power without cruelty signals inner stability.
Rule 15. The hunger for attention often masks a fear of erasure. The loud entrance, the dramatic story, the constant need to be seen. At first glance, it appears confident. But Nietzsche recognized the deeper anxiety, the fear of being insignificant, forgotten, invisible. Sometimes attention-seeking is not vanity, it is proof of existence. Rule 16. The person attacked is often the person envied. Criticism can hide admiration, twisted by doubt. To witness someone embody a quality you abandoned can be painful. Instead of aspiring, some choose to attack. Envy is unspoken desire mixed with disbelief in one's own worthiness. When you recognize this, you stop internalizing hatred. Rule 17. Adults often reenact childhood roles. The unheard child becomes the interrupting adult. The punished child becomes emotionally distant. The approval-seeking child becomes a performer in relationships. Nietzsche understood that identity is layered history. Behavior is biography in motion. Behind every adult reaction is an earlier survival strategy still operating. Rule 18. Patterns are confessions. Ghosting when intimacy increases. Overworking to avoid stillness. Flirting widely but committing rarely. Repetition is not random. It is protective scripting. If you observe patterns long enough, you hear truth before it is spoken. And when you truly see this, something changes. You stop personalizing every behavior. You stop reacting impulsively. You begin responding with clarity. Reading people is not about domination. It is about awareness. The clearer you see others, the clearer you see yourself. Because every truth here applies inward. The mask you detect in others, where is yours? The projection you notice, where does it live in you? Friedrich Nietzsche did not want passive observers. He wanted awakened individuals capable of confronting uncomfortable truths.
Subscribe to stay true to the path and not just be a bystander. This is not the end. It is the beginning of seeing without illusion. And once you learn to read beyond the mask, you stop fearing people. And when you stop fearing people, you stop needing one yourself.